Hey guys, TheGamingGeek here. Welcome to this gameplay commentary. I'm going to be talking about today the Oculus Rift. Now, this is something that I've actually been wanting to talk about for a little while, but I wasn't too sure whether you guys actually wanted to hear about it, whether it was just something that people have covered a little while back, so therefore anything I say on it becomes a bit irrelevant. It's been on my whiteboard for a little while, and I thought, do you know what? It's on there. I clearly have an intention of sort to make it. Well, why not make it now? So that's exactly what I am doing. So I actually had a chance to have a go at this device at EGX Res earlier this year. You know, it's a device that I've sort of been keeping an eye on for a little while. A lot of people are talking about it, but not a lot of people actually have had the opportunity to have hands-on with it, and that is something that I grabbed, literally the opportunity to have hands-on with it. I took that opportunity, grabbed it from whoever put it in front of my face, and said, you know what, I'm going to give this thing a try, and that's what I did at EGX Res. The kit I was using was running a development kit, so the resolution was a bit shaky, you know, and it's still, things are to be sort of perfected on it, so to keep that into consideration. It was also running a demo of a game called Private Eye, which is an indie noir type game, so if you like LA noir style stuff, it actually looks to be a really cool indie game, so definitely keep your eyes out for that one. The game is called Private Eye. Now, basically, in this demo, couldn't move anywhere. I was in a chair. I was stuck in a wheelchair in your classic LA Noire style office, you know, of your detective or whoever this character is supposed to be. And I could basically use the Oculus Rift to look around the room at different objects, you know, look directly behind me, look at all these different things, and I could then use the controller in my hand to sort of interact with objects once I'd looked at them. So I could, you know, look at an object, pick it up, sort of rotate that object, you know, to find sort of the right sort of, for instance, I held this sort of like little box, and in order to unlock this box, I had to actually rotate the box with the controller, and then I had to look at the lock, and then it would give me the option, it would come up on screen with the option to unlock it. But that wouldn't come up until I actually looked at the lock, which was quite cool. I'm going to be honest with you, it's a bit counterintuitive at first. I sort of like wasn't quite getting it to sort of work the way I wanted to. It was a bit sort of difficult to use. But obviously this is an early development stage. Once the little bugs have been fixed and it's got a lot more accurate, which I have heard that the Oculus Rift has changed an awful lot since that version particularly I was running, so obviously these things probably have been changed. But yes, once you got over that disorientation and actually sort of got into it and used it, even though it was a short period of time I got to use it, it's still a really cool device. Now, this is something that worries me. It's a cool device. It's a bit of a gadget at the moment. I just don't know whether it actually is going to be used in the real world. You know, I like the fact that you can look at these objects and sort of interact. I like the sort of almost 5D element that it adds to it, where you can actually really sort of, you know, interact with the game. It's gone from the point with the camera telling you what you want to see, you're actually going, actually, I want to see that, you know, I want to interact with that, but I don't want that to be available to look. If you imagine horror games, like once you looked in a certain direction, something jumped in your face or something like that, that'll be absolutely crazy. So it's definitely got a lot of potential, but is it just going to be a gimmick? That's the problem. That's my biggest concern with the Oculus Rift. Is it a gimmick? And I've got no reason at the moment to believe that it won't just be a gimmick. You know, look at the Kinect, look at the PlayStation Move. These were things that had potential. They still have potential. You know, Sony is also doing, you know, a competitor to the Oculus Rift that has potential, you know, with the light bar. The actual reason why the light bar was in the controller, Sony didn't want to tell us at first, but then they came out later on once they'd sort of, you know, got over the launch and they could actually reveal their new version of the Oculus Rift, you know, what their competitor to the Oculus Rift is going to be. They could go, oh, look, guys, that's what the light bar was for. The guys that were developing their version of it were sort of insistent that they had to have this bar in there because it's going to be sort of a key element to this new VR type device. But, you know, at the same time, Sony had to sort of brush over why it was there and just say that it was there for some sort of motion control, but couldn't explain it in full. That's now why that is there. You know, they've explained that to us now, but they've actually managed to get away with it for quite a while, which is actually quite interesting to see. But yes, you know, Sony obviously are thinking it's going to be something that might be quite cool, but to be fair, they thought the PS Move was going to be quite good and going to take off quite well. You know, and Microsoft still, to very recently, thought the Kinect was going to be a device that everyone still would buy regardless and still make use of, but generally it's not been quite popular. And is that going to be the same thing with the Oculus Rift? Is it just an expensive gadget that a lot of people aren't going to bother buying, therefore developers feel that the platform isn't well developed enough, hasn't got a big enough install base for them to actually start making things for and actually making use of. This is something that's not looking good to me. When I do sort of really look into it, and when I look at things similar to it, things like that, it's always been the case of that because there is that sort of cost to buy it, people generally don't buy it. Will it be different with the Oculus Rift? I have no way of being sure, but personally I'm going to leave it on the fact that I think that it's going to be a bit pricey. We know it's going to be a bit pricey, especially at first. I'm not too sure whether people will adopt it. People aren't going to buy it if the games aren't out there to support it. If you imagine there's only a couple of games out and you're going to have to pay a couple £100 for this sort of device, you've got to go, well, what am I buying it for? And it's just going to be this infinite loop. People not buying it because there's not enough games being made because people aren't buying it. It's going to be a repeat of the PS Move with the Kinect. That's my feeling. But I want to be wrong. I want this thing to do well. It is really cool. It's a really cool device. If it's made use of well, it could do really, really well. And it could be something that adds an all-new dimension to gaming and actually make gaming exciting again. And make it really accessible as well, because you don't need a big TV. You can sit in your room with this thing on. It doesn't matter where you are. You can make good use of it. So that's my brief opinion. I've had hands-on with it, and that's what I've come to as a conclusion. Thank you guys for watching the video. You can leave me your feedback in the comment section down below. Maybe you've had an opportunity. This thing has been at different events. It was at Comic-Con only a few days ago when I was there. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. You can subscribe if you're new. Leave it a like rating if you did find this video useful or do want to support me. And I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, drink tea and game on.